Kola had known before arriving in university that something about him was tilted. It wasn't that he didn't like women. He did, deeply, intensely even. But the women his eyes followed were never available in the way society approved of. His desire did not awaken at the sight of a carefree single lady laughing too loudly at a bar or adjusting her wig in a mirror. No. Kola's heart beat faster only when a woman already belonged somewhere else. A ring on a finger. A husband waiting at home. A pregnancy rounding her belly proved that another man had already claimed the future. Those were the women who haunted him. At 19, he lived with his uncle in a narrow street where secrets breathe easily through thin walls. That was where Mrs. Jones lived, directly opposite. She was always glowing in a way that felt wrong for someone carrying a burden so visibly heavy. Her pregnancy showed before her smile did. She noticed Kola before he noticed himself. It began innocently, errands, borrowed salt, long pauses at the doorway where her hand would linger just a second too long. She spoke to him like a woman starved of being seen, not like a wife waiting for a husband to return. And Kola, young and aching to be chosen by someone who already belonged somewhere else, mistook attention for meaning. Mrs. Jones crossed lines before Kola ever understood they existed. After that, single women felt empty. Unclaimed. Uninteresting. He was drawn only to women who came with complications, wedding rings, baby bumps, invisible husbands. Wanting them felt like rebellion against permanence. Loving them meant he never had to stay. Marriage, to Kola, felt like a trap where desire went to die. While his friend Ton's longing moved in the opposite direction, but arrived at the same loneliness. While his friends chased girls their age, Ton found himself restless around them. Their laughter felt thin, their bodies unattractive. He craved weight, voices that carried history, hands that had learned patience, eyes that had survived disappointment. Older women made sense to him. Women who had lived. Women who had lost. He didn't know why. He only knew that attraction, for him, required an age gap wide enough to feel like a bridge between generations, 15 years at least. Anything less felt like pretending. To him, youth felt unfinished. He wanted stories. History. The calm authority of someone who had survived disappointment and still chose softness. Kola understood him in a way others didn't. They were two men living on the margins of desire, bonded by the strange loneliness of wanting what the world judged. "You're too young for me," he told her one night, not unkindly. "I don't feel that way." Tonya smiled and pretended she understood. But understanding didn't stop her heart. She dressed better when she knew she'd see him. She listened harder. She tried to become older in spirit, calmer, wiser, anything to bridge the gap he refused to cross. But Ton never looked at her the way he looked at women twice her age. And that truth hollowed her. Kola and Ton met in their 30s, two men shaped by desires they didn't choose. They drank together often, sharing stories that sounded different but felt the same. Both were running from something. Both were loyal to a past wound. Kola moved from affair to affair, always the secret, never the center. Ton waited endlessly for a woman old enough to see him clearly, only to find that many of them wanted comfort, not commitment. Time has a way of confronting illusions. Kola fell for a married woman who chose her family over him, and this time, it broke him. For the first time, he wanted to be chosen openly. But his pattern had trained him to love what would always live. Ton finally loved an older woman, but his biggest demand was explaining to the world that he truly loved her and not only what she brings. Their union isn't what expectations of how perfect couple should look like. Society refused to take him seriously beside her. And slowly, painfully, Kola began to question himself. What if his attraction wasn't preference, but fear? Fear of responsibility. Fear of being chosen back. Fear of building something real that could collapse. One evening, he sat beside a married friend, pregnant, glowing, exhausted, listening to her talk about fear, loneliness, and the weight of choosing the same person every day. And something inside him shifted. He didn't desire her. He envied her courage. Then he finally understood the damage Mrs. Jones has done to him while growing up. That night, Kola admitted the truth he had buried for years. He was not attracted to unavailable women, he was hiding behind them, trying to find the feelings he deeply shared with Mrs. Jones. Months later, he went on his first real date with a single woman. It felt awkward, unfamiliar, real. And that scared him more than any forbidden longing ever had. He stayed committed to her but never stopped his search for Mrs. Jones. Something he locked away in his heart.